the Seattle Seahawks have a quarterback controversy. I'm putting that in air quotes. Geno Smith was injured this past week in practice, so he's missed a couple practice. So everybody in Seattle Nation got to see the Sam Howell show. And when I say the Sam Howell show, I mean you are going to see flashes of brilliance and you are going to see flashes of what in the world was he thinking? So, Chris, is there something here? Is there an actual quarterback controversy? And should the Seattle Seahawks, under first-year head coach Mike Macdonald, actually think about giving Sam Howell starting reps and letting him compete for this starting job with Geno Smith, who's been honestly really good the last couple of years?
Yeah, so a couple things. I mean, I'll just hit on a couple things real quick. So Sam Howell, I think you and I paid attention to him just because he was drafted in that time period. Was like, is it Jared Goff our guy? Like, should we do this? Like, we could pick him up maybe later,
right?
And we get him, or we watch him, and it's like, man, this is good. This dude has got something, and he could be a little sneaky, and he's kind of what we thought he would be, and he's just a guy that needs more time. Well, he's kind of got that. He's let pressures off. He's moved teams. And it's like, man, you nailed it. Like, man, he's got these really natural abilities that he can really do something, or he's really bad. So it's like, dude, what if this guy is really good? Because Geno Smith is, and this plays into what my last point is, like, Geno Smith is the guy, and he's a perfect fit for Seattle. You said this about Baker Mayfield. He works there, and this is where Geno Smith just works. Love it. But is he your guy for forever? It doesn't mean necessarily.
What is he, 33? Yeah,
right. So Sam Howell provides a little something. He's Geno Smith-ish, kind of like in a younger, just mobile enough, just arm talent there, kind of underdoggy enough. Like, there's those things. It's like, man, he's just maybe a better, younger version than Geno Smith. Why don't we try him out and roll with him? So that's kind of what's interesting. It's more interesting than I thought, I guess, this story, because it's like, no, Geno's the guy. It's like, wait, Sam Howell, I remember him. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. And so here's the deal with Sam Howell. And I think in a perfect world, he was in just a crap situation with the Commanders last year. And there was no defense. For some reason, you can have 4 basically all pro talents on a defensive line and your defense can still be awful. The Commanders prove that to be
That's
true,
right.
Which is unfortunate. Because, and I do think, by the way, the Commanders are going to be better this year. And a team that could be good in the future. But he was in a bad situation last year. I think he needs a year holding a clipboard. I think he needs a year or 2 of the Jordan Love treatment, right? Where it's just like, hey man, we see the raw talents, we see the abilities, and he even showed it in the couple practices that he was able to start. He threw a couple of tight balls in windows that were splitting coverages, back shoulder throws, like these throws that like are big time NFL throws. Like, not every quarterback in the league can make these throws, but he can, and he has the guts to take them. But then at the same time, he's throwing interceptions too, and he's making bad decisions. And I think he's just a guy that needs some time. So to be able to sit behind a guy who's exactly 10 years older than him for a year, for 2 years, for a year and a half, whatever it's going to be, and just learn under a new offensive coordinator, right? Coming from the Huskies, right? And so like, we have a new guy in here. Let's figure this out, and let's just let Sam lick his wounds from last year and learn from, because he got sacked more than anybody. He just held on to the ball forever. So let him learn. Let him be the quarterback of the future, but let Geno be the quarterback of right now. Is that kind of a fair assessment? What you're thinking too?
Yeah, because remember what he was traded for. He was traded. It was Howell and a 4th round pick and a 6th round pick to the Seattle Seahawks, who then had to give a 3rd round and a 5th round. So it was kind of
Yeah.
like, hey, we're giving you, would you just take him a little bit, kind of almost.
Yeah, it's
And
like, we'll
so
give you up a round in each pick,
yeah,
and
you kind of, yeah, so it's
so
that,
basically, it was traded for a 4th round pick. Is kind
yeah,
of what this looks like when it's all said and done.
that funky kind of, we want him gone, but we want something in return. Yeah, the whole thing. So that just shows you exactly right. Like they didn't really value him, but at the same time, the Seahawks are like, man, we want this guy, and we
Yeah,
want him as a backup. And so I think, remember, we always know the backup quarterback's always the most interesting or the most kind of like popular. Not necessarily that in this case, but it's also like, hey, what's up with you? We have the same thing with the Lions where we have a really good quarterback that's, it's like, what, we know who Jared Goff is, and we got a great quarterback in Jared Goff, but even us are like, what do we got in Hendon Hooker? Man, this dude is
mhm.
going to go for the Heisman. So it doesn't matter who it is. There's always
That
that
doesn't
going to be
matter.
that intrigue, because it's like, man, you just picture him
Yeah,
coming in, throwing touchdowns, throwing just like it, moving around with his legs. But it's like, man, no, this is a perfect situation. I don't think he's ready, but I think he's perfect to sit
and I think
there,
yeah.
watch, and be ready. Yeah.
And I think he could be ready,
Yeah.
right? When the time comes. And that's what's kind of the cool thing here. And this isn't the first time that Seattle has done this. Brought in a guy that it's like, I don't know if he's ready yet, but let's see if he'll be ready in a year or two. And I forget what his name is. He went from the Broncos to the Seahawks. Now he's not on the team. Anyways, um, I look at that and I'm just like, all right, they're willing to take this chance. Quarterback's a fickle position. It's hard to get someone to figure it out after they hadn't figured it out, but they did it with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
So why not give it another shot? And here we are. And this is something, Chris, we like to talk about. Like, do we watch preseason football? Right. And I didn't want to watch the Hall of Fame game because I hate the Bears. Right.
Mhm.
But I did watch like a half of football because it's football. And is there a team, honestly, that is more exciting to think about watching in the preseason than Seattle right now? Like, you have 2 quarterbacks and you want to see what you have in Sam Howell. Like, you're going to be excited to watch him. You want to see if Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to get more run right away. You want to see what this new defense is going to look like. You want to see if the offense can move the ball at all because they have a new offensive coordinator, and the offense has been so, I mean, it's been good, but it's been kind of boring. Is that a fair
Yes.
statement with
Yes.
Seattle? Unless they play the Lions, then they score 45 every single time. But
Yeah.
like, it really is kind of like, because that's what Pete Carroll wanted. He wanted to play defense, have a slow, methodical offense. I'd be really excited as a Hawks fan right now. Like,
Yeah.
this would be an exciting preseason and season. It's like, what's going to happen? I don't know. And by the way, their division is loaded.
And
The NFC
that's the only
West is
problem.
loaded.
Yeah, that's a problem. But yeah, they're definitely a team that we're just like, huh? Because yeah, I think they rebooted. They didn't have to like totally retool. It's just like, all right, we
Right.
just made some tweaks, but they're really big stuff. With their head coach is a guy that comes from the Harbaugh tree. Detailed defense is going to be
Both
good.
Harbaughs.
Yeah. Defense is going to be really much improved. Offense will be better. So yeah, if I'm a Hawks fan, I'm just I'm excited for this season. Again, tough division, but you're gonna be so much. You were 9-7 last year, or 9-8, and yet you were terrible on defense, shockingly, and that'll be much better. So it's hard to imagine getting worse from 9 wins, and that's exciting.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. You were middle of the road on defense, above average on offense, which is crazy to think about. But that middle of the road on defense for what you should have played ended up being a bottom 7-8 team in points allowed. Like, they just
Mhm.
gave up points like crazy. And that's the difference. Like, this is a team that had a winning record, but they were outscored. Like,
Yep.
they were outscored by almost 40 points, I think, over the course of the season. So that's always interesting. Excited. I'm telling you right now, this defense will be markedly better. So much better. And it doesn't hurt that you got Byron Murphy in the first round. Like, the fact that he fell to 16 to y'all is great. Christian Haynes out of UConn in the 3rd round is a great steal for interior offensive line. You can see what Mike McDonald, the coach, is doing right away. He's saying, we build in the trenches and we go from there. It's kind of cool
For
to
sure.
watch.
Yep, for sure. So man, if you're new to our channel, like we said, we kind of cover teams and stories that are just under the radar and
Mhm.
kind of don't get the love nationally. And so make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't. And man, anything else, Craig? This is great. We're gonna go live like this a few times, so hopefully you can join us.
Yeah, and I think here's the fun thing about doing this together is honestly, it's like, all right, let's just talk ball, right? And so we get to talk football. That's what we want to do with everybody out there. We've talked about this before. This isn't our first channel, right? We have Sports Talk Detroit, and you know, we go live on there every once in a while too, but we'd like to build it up over here on Sports Talk Extra because there's 31 other teams in the NFL and we just love the NFL. And so let's talk about some of the not huge stories and just have some fun talking ball. I don't really have anything else.
For sure.
Kind of excited to see what the Seahawks are going to do this year. There's a lot of interesting storylines with teams. Make sure to tune in throughout the year.
For sure. Yep. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.
See ya.